Good morning. We're going to be talking about vectors today. Now, you've seen vectors before. You use them all the time when you're describing translations. Okay, and vectors become... So, for example, you might have -4, 6, and we know what that does. In this particular part of the GCSE course, we're going to be working with vectors, looking at the simple mathematics behind them, and just the new notation that goes along with it. So looking at the notation we already know about, -4, 6, for example, means -4 to the right, so it means move left really, and 6 up. Okay? So we're going to give this vector a name. We're going to call it A. Now normally in textbooks or when typed up, A would be in bold type to represent that it's a vector. When we write it on our book, we can't write in bold, so we underline it. So whenever you're talking about a vector, you should really underline it. So you say that this is vector A. Okay? Lovely. We're going to put some points on an axis. Okay? And we're going to talk about how to get from one point to another using vectors. So we might look at how to get from A to B. Now, from A to B, that is going 4 to the left and 6 up. If you were to look at on your notes in front of you, you go 4 left and 6 up. So the vector would be -4, 6. We've already given this vector a name. This vector is vector A. So to get from A to B, you just go A. How would you get from A to C? Well, A to C, if you do it using vector notation, it's -2, 3, and this is going a half of A, a half the distance of our vector A. So we can write it as a half of A. This kind of makes sense. We're going half the way from A to B. A to B was A, so we're going a half of the vector A. Let's look at AD. A to D. So A to D, if we were looking at the numbers, we go -8, 12. This is 2 lots of -4, 6, which is 2 lots of the vector A. So to get from A to D, you go 2 lots of A. How do you get from B to A? Well, B goes 4 - 6. And this is like negative of the way from A to B. It's going in the other direction, so it's kind of negative A. A was going from A to B, so negative A is going from B to A. How do you get from D to A? Well, this goes 8 - 12. This is like -2 lots of our vector, so it's -2 lots of the vector A. One more, from D to C. Well, D to C, you can think of it as -1.5 lots of the vector A. You go, 1.5 the vector A, but in the other direction. Okay, let's look at all of these in turn. So from A to B, we could draw this this is a vector, this arrow here, and this is the vector A. If we were to do A to C, you can see that this is a half the distance, so this is a half of A. A to D, well, that is effectively 2 lots of A, because you go from A to B and then from B to D. If you're going from B to A, you're going in the other direction, and that's why it's -A. From D to A, you go -A and then -A again. So that's why it's -2A. From D to C, you go from D to B, which is -A, and then from B to C, which is -1/2A. Oh, I'm just going to go back. So yeah, we've gone from D to B, which is -A, and then -1/2A from B to C. That's why it's -1.5A overall from D to C. Okay, so this is using vector notation to describe how to get from one place to another. Okay, let's move on. In fact, what I'll do is I'll pause the video here, we'll stop the video, and we'll start a new video.